Brother Cliff again, another question and answer time. Today we have a very interesting question. What happened to the souls of those who died before Christ, or the Old Testament saints? And so we're going to look at this and do our best to help you understand what happened, okay? First of all, let me ask you a question. Were they saved even? Old Testament saints, were they saved? They lived before Jesus died on the cross, right? Before he gave his life. So if they were saved, how were they saved? So we got to understand what Genesis said about Abraham. I think this is kind of important, but in Genesis 15:6, it says, and he believed in the Lord, talking about Abraham, and he counted it to him for righteousness. In some translations, the word there is he reckoned it to him for righteousness, which is important. So we're trying to figure out what happened to the Old Testament saints and their souls. Well, they were saved the same way you and I are saved. Same exact way. And I know this because of what God said about Abraham. He was saved by his faith, okay? And you and I, we're saved by faith. It's kind of like Abraham. Think about this for a moment. Abraham was saved on credit. I mean, could that be a possibility that his faith gave him credit for his salvation until the day that Jesus died? Because, see, on Calvary, two things happened. Well, really one. But on Calvary, the bill for the sins of the Old Testament and the bill for the sins of the New Testament all came due at one time. And when Jesus died, he paid the sin debt for the past, the present, and the future. So see, that's important to understand, because when we're thinking about all those Old Testament, and there was many of them, there was many that were saved in the Old Testament. But when we're thinking about that, we got to know that, yes, they were saved. And they were saved just like you and I were saved. They were saved by their faith, okay? So that brings us to the second part. What happened to them? Where did they go? I mean, you and I, Apostle Paul says very, very clearly that we are absent from the body and present with the Lord when we pass. What happened to the Old Testament saints? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. What happened to these guys? Well, we got to go to Luke chapter 16. Jesus spoke on this himself. Jesus said, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and he fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died, and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torment, seeing Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. Well, we have a place now that Jesus tells us is called Abraham's bosom. But we got to stop for a second. Go back just a little bit, and let's look at the word Hades. In the Old Testament, the same word is Sheol, S-H-O-E-L, and both words are the same, and they mean the place of the dead. Okay? Now, to understand this, where did they go? There's much debate, but listen. Jesus said that Lazarus, when he died, went to Abraham's bosom. So it seems that there is a place that was made by the Lord, maybe a place, that part of the place of the dead, but it's also a place where and we're going to read that in a minute, but it's also a place where God's people receive the good things from Him during this time. It's not heaven, but it's like heaven. Okay? Can I put it that way? And on the other side, Hades, place of the dead, also in this place is a place of torment. It's a place where people go who rejected God and rejected His grace, even in the Old Testament. And I hope I'm not confusing you, but do a word study on this, Abraham's bosom. Look it up on Google, and you'll find lots of information about this place, Abraham's bosom, and maybe it will help you understand that, yes, that there was a place that the Old Testament saints went. It was a place prepared by God. Well, think about this. There's two things I want to say right quick. Everyone is going to one place or the other. Okay, that's the first thing we see in this passage. Jesus said Lazarus died and the rich man died. Both died, and both went to a certain place. Abraham's bosom, or to what? Torment. Okay. The second thing is that this passage also reminds us that when we die, we immediately begin experiencing either God's blessing or God's wrath. Notice this. He received a good thing. Well, listen. And he cried and said to Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now is comforted, and thou art tormented. And besides all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from there. Well, he said that the rich man was in torment, and he begged Abraham to let Lazarus dip. You heard me read it. But then on the other hand, Lazarus receiving the good things from the Lord. Okay, so I think that's important to remember that God had a place for those Old Testament saints. And you say, well, one last thing. I know I'm going a little longer, but one last thing. When Jesus died on the cross in Matthew 27, when he died, the veil of the temple was rent. You remember the story. Let me get there. But in verse 50 it says, Jesus, when he cried with a loud voice, he yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. And now here it is. And the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and they came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Boy, you talking about putting a little something in the mix here. But look what happened when Jesus died, when he gave up the ghost. And when he rose from the grave, the Bible clearly says that the saints' graves opened. Do you see what happened? They had credit until that day when Jesus died on Calvary. And guess what? The credit came due, and Jesus delivered. He delivered. I hope that helps you. There's lots more, but I pray God will lead you to search it for yourself, okay? Have a great day.